Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Mighty Matt Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Sterling. I'm delighted to be joined today by Ling Pai. I met Ling and her husband, Chris, at an adoptive surfing event last year in Oceanside, California. Actually, I met their dog first, who jumped up and gave me a big kiss, which was really nice. While her husband, Chris, represents Team USA, Ling represents Team Canada. Proof during these turbulent times, we can always find love among our neighbors to the north. Hi, Ling. How are you?
Hi, Matt. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. It's so good to see you, and thanks for taking the time to be on the podcast. I usually kick these things off. I never liked what's your disability, what's wrong with you. To overcome big obstacles in life takes great strength. So I like to ask, when did you become mighty?
Well, mine is an interesting one. So I have a genetic disease in my eyes. It's called dominant optic atrophy, and it's a degeneration of the optic nerve.
Yep.
So my mightiness sort of came gradually. So I was diagnosed when I was 14, but I didn't become legally blind until I was in my early 30s. So it's
see.
progressive disease. And if you imagine the nerves that are attached to the back of the eye that connects to the brain, that
Yep.
nerve slowly deteriorating and dying. So it took some time.
Now, is
Yeah.
it true that your mom has the same?
She does. So it is a genetic disease. My mom has
Yeah.
it, but hers didn't really present until she was in her late 30s.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
um whether she just was not diagnosed when she was younger and
Yeah.
didn't really have any symptoms until it was pretty advanced, we don't know. But
Yep.
I was diagnosed just because I had an eye infection and
Sure.
been to see a doctor that specialized in
Yep.
neuro-ophthalmology, and he sort of went, before you go, we should just check to make sure you can see properly. And he took
Right.
out the Ishihara book of colors, and I could not
Oh,
see
wow.
numbers. And yeah, and that was when my mom said, I can't see either. And I have this crazy eye disease. And
Yeah,
he kind of
sure.
mom and said, we should probably test you both to see if you have the same disease. And we do.
Now, that's
Yeah.
such a fascinating thing to have your mother go through something that then you ultimately are going through. What was her attitude towards it initially, and how did that impact the way that she's helped guide you through the process?
When I was diagnosed, she had just recently been diagnosed as
Oh,
well. And
okay.
she was pretty worried for herself.
Yeah.
And concerned. So when I was diagnosed, she became extra concerned.
Yeah,
Of
right.
me, I think, than for herself. We were both pretty, I would say, pretty scared because
Sure.
it's very rare disease and they still don't have any treatments for it. I spoke to a neuro-ophthalmologist in Southern California 2
Okay.
years ago, and he's getting ready to retire. And he said to me, he said, look, I'm getting ready to retire. I see a case like you, maybe less than 5 every 20 to 25
Wow.
years. He's just like, you
Okay.
don't see cases like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so wild. My disability is very similar in that I've never really met anyone that has the same thing. So
Yeah.
it's interesting because you come up with doctors that really don't have an answer because they've never seen anyone really like
Yeah.
you. So it's moderately
Exactly.
frustrating.
Yeah, like, I found it when because I was diagnosed, so young, it
Yeah,
was very devastating, and
sure.
literally we went through all the tests. They wanted to make sure I didn't have a brain tumor that was pressing on the nerve,
Right, right,
and when
right.
they properly diagnosed me, they literally just said, "Okay, well, you have this disease. You're probably gonna go blind, but there's
Yeah,
nothing we can do about it, so we're just gonna see you once a year and track the changes."
sure.
So,
Yeah,
I
that's a
yeah.
hugely devastating thing to hear at such a young age.
Yeah.
Tell me about some of the support mechanisms you had.
To be honest, Matt, I didn't have any.
Oh my
I
gosh, I'm
didn't
so
have any.
sorry.
Not because friends were not supportive, that's not it at all.
Yeah,
It's because throughout my teenage years, didn't I didn't ask for help, and even
sure.
through my 20s, I really didn't ask for help. I hid it very well. I never really
Right,
talked about it. I certainly felt embarrassed about it because I didn't know how to explain to people what it is that I'm
right.
seeing and what I don't see. So
Sure.
it really wasn't until it got so bad to the point that they declared me legally blind. Then it was
Right,
like, okay, this is pretty bad. And
right.
I had moved away to the East Coast for a few years for work,
Okay.
and that was a big change in my sight, like, it
Sure.
slipped quite a bit. So when I came back, my best friend that you're talking about,
Yeah.
she kinda realized that, "Whoa, that's, like, your vision's changed a lot," and we used
Yeah.
to hike and run and do all these activities together, so
Sure.
she sort of stepped in and became my guide for trail running. She would run about, I would say, like 3 to 4 feet ahead of me, and I
Uh-huh.
would watch because I can't see the terrains, but
Right.
I would watch her feet, like, I would look at her
Wow.
shoes,
Okay.
and then she'll yell out, "A drop," or "Watch that rock,"
Yep.
and then I would just follow her.
That's so great.
Yeah.
It's great that you guys figured out a system to still get
Yeah.
out there and do it.
Yeah. I guess I should say I didn't have great support when it came to talking about my vision growing
Sure.
up, but I had great support in general, like, they were just
Yeah,
great
yeah.
friends, great family members, yeah.
That's great. Do you remember the first time your vision impacted your day to day? Where, like, the first time you couldn't do something you wanted to do?
Well, one thing that really hit me was snowboarding. So I
Yeah.
snowboarded when I was in high school through university.
Yep.
We were very lucky because I went to UBC, University of British Columbia, and they
Yeah.
used to offer these really cheap seasons passes
Yeah.
to
Sweet.
Whistler. Yeah, so we would go and snowboard. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden I was just falling. Like I couldn't see the terrain and I would fall
Oh, dude,
really
yeah.
hard when I tried to go snowboarding.
Yep.
And I realized like this just isn't fun anymore. And that was right around when I got declared legally blind,
Okay.
and that was my first adaptive sport, that was to learn to ski. So I
Oh,
got into
cool.
the Whistler Adaptive Sport Program and learned to ski as a visually impaired person.
So when you were learning to ski, how did that work with the instructors?
It was incredible. They have great instructors and most of them were volunteers.
Yep.
So what they did was they made me wear this bright yellow vest that
Yeah, yeah.
said blind skier on it, which I initially thought, "Oh my gosh, really? You really want me to wear that?" And then I was kind of proud that I was wearing it because people would
Sure.
come up to me and say like,
Oh,
"Oh my gosh,
shit.
you're doing great." But what we did was once we got off the bunny hill, we had a guide in front of me and
Yep.
he had bright orange ribbons on his knees and he said, "Just watch my like if you can see the ribbons, we
Sure.
determined how far not too far, the
Yep.
distance of him being in front of me, so I could see the ribbons on his knees." And then I also had a block, we call them a blocker behind me
Yep.
because the orange vest, as great as it is, also attracts people. So people on the
Oh, so they're
hills
gonna straight ski at
toward
you.
you. So we're also hooked up on the radio so that they can
Yep.
call out the terrain. So radio, instructor in front, blocker behind me. That's how we would manage down the hill. And that's how I learned to ski.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
You had talked a little bit about how you learned to ski, but tell me about when you learned to surf.
So it was later in life compared to I think other people that surf. I was
Sure.
about 28 when I learned to surf. It was in Puerto Rico. I just took a lesson as a tourist, loved it, and
Yep.
then kept taking lessons and going to surf camps. I didn't really learn as an adaptive athlete. I just
Okay.
sort of looked up surf camps, showed up and said, "Hey, by the way, I can't see very well. I have these eye issues." And then they're like, "Okay, that's fine. We'll just figure it out." And that's how I
So and I hate to
started.
get in the weeds, but I'm totally fascinated because I'd surfed like twice and it was very difficult. So you get beyond the break. How do you determine how you're gonna approach the wave and which way to turn and all that stuff?
It took a long time. So
Yeah.
I can't really see the wave until it's
Yeah.
fairly close to me. I probably have about, I would say, like 3 to 5 seconds to
Okay.
figure it out if I'm surfing on my own. That's why I
Yep.
generally like to have somebody with me.
Sure.
The spotter will say, "Hey, there's a wave coming. It looks good, and it's gonna be a right or it's gonna be a left,
Oh,
or
okay.
we gotta paddle north a little bit to get it, or we gotta paddle
Yep.
south a little bit to get it." Yeah, I do need help that way, especially now more
Yeah.
more so than before.
But then once you get up, it's you just the sensation is different,
Yeah.
obviously, than snowboarding.
Yeah, I'm trying my best to see what the wave does, but
Yeah,
depending on the condition, depending on the lighting, a lot of times I can't see what the wave is doing. So I sort of just you see me go straight a lot, like
yeah,
just down the wave because I can't really see where the wave ends or what it's gonna
right.
do. So I tend to stay safe, but I'm trying to make more turns too. Yeah.
And, what are you working on now? Is it more turning or bigger waves, or what's your kinda goal for?
Yeah, trying to be more maneuverable on a wave, trying to see sort of anticipate the wave better. I'm keeping my eyes on the wave.
Yeah,
Because when you first start learning, the one thing that I think a lot of beginners and myself, what I used to do was because I can't see it anyway, and
sure,
no
sure.
one said, "Hey, keep your eyes on the wave," because they
Right.
probably figured you can't see anyway, so just paddle and go. So I'm always just looking forward and paddling. I'm not looking
Yeah.
at what the wave is doing. Maybe the wave is shifting and I need to follow it. That's one thing that I work on a lot more now is try to
Oh,
keep
that's
my
cool. Now tell me about how your mother liked you surfing.
She did not like it. In the beginning, she was very much against it because
Yeah,
not only was I surfing, I was also traveling to, South American countries
sure,
on my
sure.
own, joining a surf camp. So she was probably just thinking like, "Oh my gosh, like you can't see very well. You're a girl traveling to all these countries on your own
Right, right.
you doing?" And I think her before I she came to one of the contests, her idea of surfing was like Point Break, the movie, right?
Right, right, right.
Massive waves. I'm like, that's
Yeah,
not what it is, mom.
that's right.
Yeah, so she was not super supportive in the beginning,
Yep,
till 2018 when I did my first ISA World Parasurf contest. She came to La Jolla with my sister um, and some of the other adaptive surfers and people in the community were
yeah,
really, really nice. And they explained to her how it actually works. Like, you don't look at the whole ocean, there's
right,
just that one wave
right.
that we're concerned about. So
Yeah,
I think that made her feel more settled, feel
yeah.
better about it. And then just seeing all the other adaptive surfers and everybody coming together to compete.
Yeah, there was a interview that I watched her in, and she said when she saw how happy you were out there, she knew
Yeah.
she couldn't stop you. Like, that was really nice. Tell me a little bit about how you met Chris. I think that'd be great because I think it's not only a lovely story, the way you guys help each other, on the water is very cool.
Yeah, so I met Chris in 2018, right before the ISA contest. I had came down to California for a little bit of training and trying out just competing for the first time. I think I did the US Open in September.
Yep,
And we met through a mutual friend. I think he told the story. Like we ended up meeting at dinner. And during the contest, I had this huge longboard. And the oceanside wave is not always great for longboarding
right,
unless
right.
you're good. So I ended up not using that board, but I had to get it back up to my Airbnb. So the
Oh,
board
right.
contest site, and I kept asking people. I was just like, "Gosh, can somebody just help me get this board back up to my Airbnb, and then I don't have to worry about
Yeah.
it anymore?" Every single person I asked said, "Ask Chris, he'll do it. He's got a van." And sure enough, Chris was the only person that was kind enough to let me slide that giant, I think it was like a 9.2 or
Oh
9.6,
my god, that's great.
and he drove me back up to the Airbnb, and he said, "Where are you gonna surf while you're here?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. I figured I would just walk down to the pier and surf." And he said, "Well, I surf every day before work, so why don't I take you surfing, and then I'll
Yeah,
drop you off back at your Airbnb, and then I'll go to work."
yeah.
And that's what he did every day for the rest of my trip.
That's
And
so nice.
I did not know this, but he was driving me like half an hour out of his way to go to
There
San
you go.
because it was a much gentler break,
Yeah,
and I wasn't
sure.
that good at the time, so he was just like, "Oh gosh, like, you can't surf here. Let's take you somewhere safer. Let's go."
What a guy, what a guy.
Yeah. So that's how we met, and we were really just really good friends at first, because he was just we'd had all that time to chat and to get to know
Sure,
each other
sure.
driving back and forth. So, yeah. And it's funny because I always think it's funny because I will bring, because I can walk, so I'll bring his wave
Right,
ski, his
right.
board down to the beach for him, or I'll carry the board and bring it to the car. So people would always look at me and say, "Oh my gosh, like you're so nice. You're doing him such a great favor, you're helping him out." And I'm like, "No, he's helping me out because without him in the water, I can't really surf by myself. So he needs to call waves for me. So he's
Yeah.
really helping me, not the other way around. Like
It's
without
that
me,
perfect
he can get
symbiotic
in and out of the water
relationship.
by himself perfectly. He doesn't need me, but
Yeah.
I kind of need him." Yeah.
That's so cool. Well, it was wonderful to see you guys out there in Oceanside. Now, when's your next competition?
So our next contest is in May. It's the Hawaii Adaptive Surfing
Ooh,
Championships.
nice. What island?
It's gonna be in Waikiki on
Ooh,
Oahu,
nice.
right at Queens. That's our Chris and I like that's our favorite contest because
Yep.
it's a slower reef break. So that's the one
Okay.
contest that Chris can actually be my guide in the water
Yep.
during the contest.
Oh,
So
that's great.
yeah, that's our favorite one.
Nice. Now, if there's somebody that's listening to this that's interested in adaptive surfing, how would you recommend they get involved?
Definitely go with somebody. There are several organizations that will put on surf clinics. High
Yep.
Five does surf clinics, CAF. Waves are all down in Southern California. Every last
Yep.
Sunday of the month, there'll be people there to help you. And yeah, I would say just connect with one of the organizations or get your own instructor and get in the water with some help.
Sure. That's great advice. Here's some of the things you do when you're not on the water.
Well, for myself, I walk, run, and hike, mostly with my dog. And it's funny because he's not a trained guide dog, but he almost guides me a little bit, especially
Nice.
in the trails.
Yep.
I'm pretty familiar with the trails around our house, so that's pretty good. But if I ever go off trail, I can usually call him and then he'll come back and then take me back on the
Oh,
trail.
that's
Like he
great.
naturally wants to be on the trail, so he'll be like, "Hey, it's this way. Come on, let's go."
That's wonderful. Now, obviously, you've done some extensive traveling. What is the
Yeah.
best trip that you've been on?
Gosh, I would say Peru. I went to
Really?
Peru and instead of the Inca I did the Salcantay Trail hike up to and then to Machu Picchu. So I ended up joining
Wow.
a trekking group. And then my best friend we actually went to Peru together and we met up and did a little bit of running and hiking together. And then
Yep.
we separated and I went and did the trek to Machu Picchu and then she went and did something else. Yeah, that was the best, I think, the most fun I've ever had. And I almost didn't go because I thought, gosh, there's going to be part of this trip that I'm going to be on my own. I don't know if I
Sure.
can do this. And I was working full time at the time in cardiac rehab.
Oh, wow.
One of my cardiac patients said to me, Ling, you could just join a group. And I was like, what? And then he's like, just join. He's like, go on the internet and find a group. He's like,
Yeah.
not all tour groups are bad, right? Find a group that you think will work for you. Like there are lots of different ones out there. And I'm sure you're going to have a blast. He's like, don't
Yeah.
do this. Don't feel like you have to do it on your own, you know?
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yes. It's like throughout this whole process, I had little angels telling me, you can
Yeah,
ask.
along the way, you've got helpers. That's great. Um,
Yeah.
so my last question always brings a kind of a funny answer. So if I were to clone you and there were two Ling pies in front of me, what question would I ask to reveal the real Ling?
Oh gosh. I love food. I love to eat.
Yep.
That's like I think my favorite thing. So I question would be what is your favorite breakfast food?
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. And what is it?
I bake my own sourdough bread, so I make this my favorite breakfast almost every day is sourdough bread with natural peanut butter, chia seeds, banana, and walnut top. So it's like a fancy banana.
Delicious.
Yeah.
Delicious, delicious. Well, listen, Ling, that's a great answer, by the way. I really appreciate you taking the time. Your story, and your relationship with Chris are just wonderful. I really feel fortunate to have met you guys, and I
Thank
appreciate you
you.
taking the time.
Yeah, we hope to see you soon. We
Yeah,
should
no,
go
I'm either gonna come up
together.
there or when next time you guys are down here, I'll see you. I hope you enjoyed that episode, and I hope you'll click like and subscribe so you can meet the mighty.